Dear friends, across the world, millions of people begin their day with a warm cup of coffee. The aroma fills the air, the taste awakens the senses, and the caffeine brings instant alertness. But here is the important question. After the age of 50, is this cup of coffee still your trusted companion for health and energy? Or has it quietly become a double-edged sword that may harm your heart, disturb your sleep, and weaken your bones? Science has given us fascinating answers. Coffee is no longer seen simply as a beverage to stay awake. Researchers now call it one of the richest sources of antioxidants in the modern diet. In fact, a large-scale study published in the New England Journal of Medicine in 2017, involving more than 500,000 participants across 10 European countries, found that drinking 2 to 4 cups of coffee per day was linked to a 15 to 17% lower risk of early death. However, that is not the full story. While coffee can be a shield protecting the brain, the liver, and even the cardiovascular system, it can also be a hidden danger, especially for older adults. Caffeine is a stimulant that increases heart rate and raises blood pressure temporarily. It can rob calcium from the body and make fragile bones even weaker. And when consumed late in the day, it can disturb the already delicate sleep patterns of people over 50. So in today's video, we will take a balanced journey into the science of coffee. We will uncover the proven health benefits, reveal the real risks, point out the common mistakes many people make, and finally, share the smartest way to drink coffee after the age of 50. By the end, you will know exactly how to enjoy coffee without letting it silently damage your health. Let us begin with the remarkable truth that coffee, long misunderstood as a guilty pleasure, has emerged as one of the most scientifically studied beverages on Earth. What researchers are discovering is nothing short of astonishing. Far from being merely a stimulant to shake off morning drowsiness, coffee is now recognized as a major source of health-protective compounds that can benefit the brain, the liver, and even the cardiovascular system. At the heart of coffee's power are its bioactive compounds. Each cup contains hundreds of natural chemicals, including polyphenols, chlorogenic acids, melanoidins, and diterpenes. Among these, chlorogenic acids stand out for their strong antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties. Antioxidants help neutralize free radicals, unstable molecules that damage cells and accelerate aging. For many adults in Western countries, coffee is actually the largest single source of antioxidants, surpassing fruits and vegetables combined. The first benefit we must highlight is cognitive performance and memory preservation. Caffeine works by blocking adenosine, a neurotransmitter that signals fatigue, thereby increasing dopamine and norepinephrine. This improves reaction time, mood, and concentration. In a landmark 2014 study at Johns Hopkins University, participants who ingested caffeine after a learning exercise performed significantly better on memory tests the following day. This suggests that coffee may reinforce long-term memory consolidation, an extraordinary advantage for adults concerned about age-related memory decline. The second proven benefit is protection against neurodegenerative disease. Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease are two of the most feared conditions of aging. According to a meta-analysis in the Journal of Alzheimer's Disease, regular coffee consumption reduces the risk of Alzheimer's by up to 30%. Similarly, a large Finnish study, tracking over 29,000 participants for more than 20 years, found that drinking 3 to 5 cups per day was associated with a significantly lower risk of Parkinson's. Scientists believe caffeine reduces harmful protein deposits in the brain and protects dopamine-producing neurons, which are vital for motor control and memory. The third benefit extends to the liver, one of the hardest-working organs in the human body. A comprehensive study from the National Cancer Institute demonstrated that coffee consumption was inversely associated with cirrhosis, non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, and even liver cancer. Participants who drank 4 cups per day had nearly a 40% lower risk of cirrhosis compared to non-drinkers. Coffee also reduces levels of liver enzymes, signaling less inflammation and healthier liver function. Coffee's fourth advantage is cardiovascular and metabolic health. While caffeine does cause a short-term increase in blood pressure, long-term studies tell a different story. Data from the Harvard School of Public Health revealed that individuals who drank 3 to 4 cups per day had a 25 to 30% lower risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Other large observational studies linked moderate coffee intake to a reduced risk of stroke and improved endothelial function, which refers to the ability of blood vessels to dilate and maintain healthy circulation. Finally, coffee may even support longevity. A 2017 New England Journal of Medicine study, which followed more than 500,000 people across 10 European countries, found that regular coffee drinkers had a 12 to 17% lower risk of premature death. The effect was observed for both caffeinated and decaffeinated coffee, suggesting that the protective compounds extend beyond caffeine alone. In summary, coffee's benefits are undeniable when consumed in moderation. It can sharpen memory, shield the brain against disease, protect the liver, support heart health, and even extend life expectancy. The cup you hold in the morning is not just a ritual. It is a scientifically validated tool for healthier aging. Now that we have celebrated coffee's many gifts, it is time to turn the cup around and examine the darker side. For while coffee is powerful, its power can easily cut both ways. After the age of 50, the same beverage that protects the liver and sharpens the mind can also disturb sleep, weaken bones, and strain the heart. The first hidden risk is sleep disruption. Sleep naturally becomes more fragile with age. Older adults produce less melatonin, the hormone that regulates circadian rhythm. Caffeine, which blocks adenosine, compounds this challenge. A controlled study published in the Journal of Clinical Sleep Medicine showed that consuming caffeine even 6 hours before bedtime reduced total sleep by more than 1 hour and significantly worsened sleep quality. For seniors, chronic sleep disruption does not merely cause daytime fatigue, it accelerates cognitive decline, weakens immunity, and increases the risk of depression. The second risk is cardiovascular strain. Caffeine stimulates the release of adrenaline, narrowing blood vessels and raising blood pressure. While younger adults often compensate without consequence, older adults with hypertension or heart disease may face dangerous spikes. A long-term Italian study revealed that individuals who consumed more than 4 cups daily had a 22% higher risk of atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat strongly linked to stroke and heart failure. The third concern is bone health. Caffeine increases calcium excretion in urine, a loss that seems small in the short term but accumulates across decades. Postmenopausal women, already vulnerable to osteoporosis due to declining estrogen, are particularly at risk. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition confirmed that elderly women with high caffeine intake had lower bone mineral density and greater fracture risk compared to moderate consumers. Given that hip fractures can devastate independence and quality of life, this is a risk that cannot be ignored. The fourth issue is digestive irritation. Coffee stimulates gastric acid production, which for people with acid reflux, gastritis, or ulcers can worsen symptoms such as heartburn and stomach pain. Interestingly, even decaffeinated coffee has been shown to increase acid secretion, though to a lesser degree, meaning sensitive individuals may still experience discomfort regardless of caffeine content. The fifth risk is interactions with medication. Coffee can interfere with the absorption of iron and calcium, reducing their bioavailability. It may also blunt the effect of thyroid medication or intensify certain cardiovascular drugs. Physicians often advise patients to leave a gap of at least 2 hours between coffee and important medicines. Together, these risks paint a sobering picture. Coffee is not inherently harmful, but after 50, the body changes. Sleep is lighter, blood vessels stiffer, bones thinner, and digestion more delicate. What was once harmless may now provoke harm if not managed carefully. The key, as we will soon see, is not to abandon coffee, but to approach it with wisdom and respect. Many of the dangers we have just discussed are not caused by coffee itself, but by the ways in which people consume it. The truth is, with a few common mistakes corrected, coffee could be restored to its rightful place as a friend of health. Let us examine the 5 mistakes most frequently made. The first mistake is drinking coffee on an empty stomach. This habit is extremely common but deeply harmful. When coffee is taken before breakfast, it stimulates an exaggerated release of stomach acid into an already acidic environment. Over time, this contributes to irritation of the stomach lining, ulcers, and chronic gastritis. A review in Alimentary Pharmacology and Therapeutics confirmed that caffeine increases gastric acid output significantly. For older adults with naturally weaker digestion, this is a recipe for chronic discomfort. The second mistake is adding too much sugar, flavored syrups, or condensed milk. A plain cup of black coffee has less than 5 calories and is full of antioxidants. However, one popular coffeehouse latte with syrups and cream can exceed 300 calories, most of it sugar. Harvard researchers have consistently linked sugary beverages to obesity, insulin resistance, and type 2 diabetes. Transforming coffee into dessert undermines its benefits and adds to the global burden of metabolic disease. The third mistake is relying on coffee instead of water. While coffee does contribute to daily hydration, it cannot replace plain water. Coffee's mild diuretic effect means that drinking multiple cups without enough water may leave older adults subtly dehydrated. This is especially risky since seniors already experience a reduced sense of thirst. Chronic dehydration impairs kidney function, worsens constipation, and even reduces cognitive clarity. The fourth mistake is drinking coffee too late in the day. Because caffeine's half-life is about 5 hours, afternoon coffee lingers into the evening. A cup at 4 p.m. leaves half its caffeine still active at 9 p.m. Studies show that caffeine consumed within 6 hours of bedtime shortens sleep, disrupts deep restorative stages, and increases next-day fatigue. This fatigue often leads to heavier coffee use the following morning, creating a vicious cycle of sleeplessness and dependency. The fifth mistake is ignoring personal health conditions while maintaining high consumption. Seniors with high blood pressure, osteoporosis, or chronic insomnia often continue drinking 3 to 4 cups daily. This routine not only worsens their conditions, but also reduces the effectiveness of medications. For example, coffee can block iron absorption, complicate anemia, and interfere with thyroid treatment. These 5 mistakes – empty stomach, excess sugar, using coffee instead of water, late-day drinking, and ignoring medical conditions – explain why many people experience harm rather than health from coffee. The encouraging truth is that every one of these mistakes can be corrected. By avoiding them, you can unlock the full power of coffee while protecting your body. After exploring both the benefits and the risks, the natural question is, how can we drink coffee wisely after the age of 50? Fortunately, science provides clear guidance. By respecting the body's needs and adjusting habits, coffee can remain both a pleasure and a source of health. The first principle is timing. Research in chronobiology suggests that drinking coffee in the mid-morning, between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m., aligns with natural cortisol rhythms. At this time, the body's stress hormone is declining, making caffeine more effective without overstimulation. Drinking coffee after 2 p.m., however, often disrupts melatonin and interferes with sleep. Respecting this timing is especially important for older adults with fragile sleep patterns. The second principle is moderation. According to a review from the Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, the sweet spot is 1 to 2 standard cups per day, which equals about 200 to 300 milligrams of caffeine. This level provides strong protective effects for the brain and liver without excessive risk. Consuming more than 4 cups daily, on the other hand, increases the likelihood of anxiety, digestive upset, and irregular heartbeat. The third principle is choosing quality. The healthiest choice is black coffee brewed from freshly ground beans. Light to medium roasts retain higher levels of chlorogenic acids compared to very dark roasts. Avoid instant mixes or sweetened lattes that contain added sugars, artificial flavors, and hydrogenated oils. If you prefer milk with your coffee, opt for unsweetened plant-based milk, such as soy, almond, or oat. These add creaminess without the health costs of condensed milk or heavy cream. The fourth principle is protecting bone health. Since caffeine slightly increases calcium loss, seniors should balance coffee intake with calcium and vitamin D-rich foods. Yogurt, small fish eaten with bones, leafy greens, and fortified plant-based milks are excellent options. A study in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition concluded that adequate calcium intake neutralizes the bone-related risks of coffee. The fifth principle is managing medication interactions. Coffee can interfere with thyroid hormone absorption, reduce iron uptake, and alter the action of certain heart medications. Physicians generally advise leaving at least a 2-hour gap between coffee and critical prescriptions. This small adjustment ensures both effective treatment and safe enjoyment of coffee. Finally, the sixth principle is listening to your own body. Everyone metabolizes caffeine differently due to genetic variations. If coffee makes you jittery, anxious, or sleepless, reduce your intake or switch to decaffeinated coffee. Decaf retains most antioxidants while eliminating the overstimulation. In short, the smart way to drink coffee after 50 is not to abandon it, but to embrace it with wisdom. By aligning with natural rhythms, practicing moderation, choosing quality, supporting bone health, and respecting medication interactions, coffee can continue to enrich life, providing both comfort and protection well into the later years. Dear friends, as we come to the end of today's journey into the world of coffee, I invite you to pause for a moment and reflect on the cup that sits before you each morning. It is easy to think of coffee as just a habit, a routine that helps us feel awake. But as we have learned, coffee is far more than that. It is a complex and powerful beverage, containing hundreds of natural compounds that can influence nearly every system in the human body. On the one hand, we have seen that coffee can act as a shield of protection. Its antioxidants, such as chlorogenic acids, fight against oxidative stress, the very process that accelerates aging and chronic disease. Coffee strengthens the brain by supporting memory, focus, and even long-term protection against Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. It guards the liver, reducing the risk of cirrhosis and fatty liver disease. It can even improve blood vessel function and lower the risk of type 2 diabetes. Studies involving hundreds of thousands of people across the world have shown that moderate coffee drinkers live longer and healthier lives. That is not a claim of wishful thinking. It is a fact supported by decades of research published in the most respected medical journals. But on the other hand, we cannot ignore that coffee is also a stimulant, and with stimulation comes responsibility. After the age of 50, the body's resilience is not what it once was. Sleep becomes lighter, the heart becomes more vulnerable, bones become thinner, and digestion more sensitive. A single mistake, such as drinking coffee too late, loading it with sugar, or ignoring underlying medical conditions, can quietly transform a healing drink into a harmful one. Science warns us that caffeine can rob the body of sleep, raise blood pressure, contribute to bone loss, and even interfere with essential medicines. These are not small details. They are signals reminding us that health is never found in extremes, but in balance. So what, then, is the wiser path? The wiser path is to respect coffee, to treat it not as an enemy nor as a savior, but as a tool. 1 to 2 cups each morning preferably between 9 a.m. and 11 a.m., is enough to enjoy its benefits without risking harm. Pure black coffee or lightly roasted beans preserve the antioxidants while avoiding the hidden sugars and fats that plague commercial drinks. Pair your coffee with calcium-rich foods to protect your bones. Drink water throughout the day to stay hydrated. Leave a gap of at least 2 hours between coffee and essential medications. And most importantly, listen to your own body. If you feel anxious, jittery, or sleepless, reduce your intake or explore decaffeinated options, which still carry many of the same protective compounds. My dear friends, coffee is much like life itself. It is rich, complex, and filled with both opportunities and challenges. When approached with wisdom, it energizes, protects, and brings joy. When approached carelessly, it can drain, disrupt, and weaken. The choice is not about whether to drink coffee or not. The choice is about how to drink it in a way that honors both your health and your years of experience. And so, as we close, I want to ask you, how do you drink your coffee today? Do you savor it in moderation as a friend to your health? Or do you find yourself leaning on it too heavily, forgetting its risks? Share your thoughts and habits in the comments below. By learning from one another, we create not just a community of coffee drinkers, but a community of wisdom seekers, supporting each other toward healthier, stronger, and longer lives. If you found this video valuable, please give it a like, subscribe to our channel, Nutigood HealthBook, and turn on the notification bell. That way, you will never miss the science-based guidance we bring to help you live your best life after 50. Together, let us continue to transform simple daily choices, like a cup of coffee, into powerful steps toward health, clarity, and vitality for many years to come.